and can show some of the PB pace runs that we've been seeing from them recently.
Will we be getting any more extended metaphors about the prom?
Oh, today I'm planning to give a more accurate rendition of the plot of this game. So I'll just start out here. So what you see at the beginning is this is a message to. So you see in the top left, you see Link in the bed, and his roommate on the right, that's Mario. These games were made built on the success of the Mario games. So the message is, "Dear Mario, please come to the castle. I've baked a cake for you. Yours, Princess Peach." But it turns out that Bowser's castle has been taken over by Ganon, and you'll see what happened to Mario in the sewers. Now, at the time, the fate of Mario was taken to be inappropriate for children, and there was a massive controversy. And I believe the game was actually briefly banned in Japan for this. Yes, see, just all the blood, a very emotional beginning to this game. But now we're off. We're past the Mario segment of the game, and we're on to the Zelda section, where now you play as Zelda rescuing Princess Peach.
That was beautiful. Do you get to eat cake at the end?
I believe you do. That's in the in the American version you did. That was it was too risque for the Japanese version. We're seeing a tiny strat difference, just a slight difference with how the two of them killed that blue guard. Not really a time difference. Dklutie has lost a heart, but doesn't seem to have lost much time from it, as we're almost nearly synced here. Little mistake from Emma, aggroing that guard.
This is an important room here with ball and chain. DK especially wants to be a little bit careful. Yeah, and he's going for the pot strat even.
Yeah, and we definitely saw some awareness there. Dklutie a little bit slower, boomeranging the guard and using that pot. Just thinking he's got the two hearts. He doesn't want to lose another. Escape can be a little dangerous if it gets out of hand. And Emma just playing very quickly and getting a great 8/, and gaining, you know, what, like maybe half a second back on the time that she was behind.
Yeah, it's really not much of a difference between those two at all, between using the pot and doing 8/. Now, yeah. Zelda is carrying Princess Peach, right? Do I have that right?
Right, that's it. Yeah, they're going to the bakery.
Okay. The bakery disguised as a church.
Right. The bakery is in a refurbished church, and the baker is just wearing the pastor's clothes that were in the closet.
Nice.
Speaking a 420 on the stairs, so a little bit higher into the clouds than Emma so far in this escape.
Wow. Shoutouts to RPG, I guess.
Scrivo in chat reminding me that after they get to the bakery, the first two dungeons will be Yeastern Palace and Dessert Palace.
Oh my. The puns are too much. DK's actually going to have a pretty solid escape time here, I think.
It's just a little bit rough RNG at the end, but I think still pulled through with a 5:53.
Yeah.
Whereas Emma got a mid 5:57. So maybe 3.5 seconds to 4 seconds of difference between the two of them. The sort of difference that definitely maybe showing a little bit more nerves on Emma's part, but it's only half a blue ball, certainly not anything for us to think too hard about yet.
Both runners, of course, getting the Sanctuary Heart, the most invaluable safety in the game. I believe DK actually prefers all dungeons. Could be wrong about that, though. Which all dungeons is a major glitch category that uses out of bounds and such.
Well, that's actually, thank you, Scrivo. That's really important to note. So both of these runners apparently are 2-0 in their group, and the winner of this race will win the group with 3-0, and the loser will be 2-1. So both will advance to the bracket stage. But certainly the winner will have probably an easier match. I don't remember exactly how the bracket is seeded, but group stage has to be the main consideration.
Yeah, the bracket is going to be seeded based on your best run during the group stages. So if they can beat their other two, well, their goal here is to beat their other two race times that they've gotten so far, so they can potentially get seeded better going into the brackets.
So is that by group stage finishing and then best race time, or is it possible that somebody who was 2-1 could be seeded ahead of somebody who was 3-0?
I think it's possible that someone who's 2-1 could be seeded ahead of 3-0.
Okay, so this is a very consequential race for both of them, and that actually that makes me think differently about my own races coming up. That's very important for us to know, I think.
But yeah, I want to say DK's best time so far is a 129, maybe a 128. And I want to say Emma's is a 130-ish, like a 130 XX.
Obviously, chat is getting a little restive about this. Obviously, group stages still matter because you have to win 2 of your group stage matches to advance. Yeah, what I've said is correct. We're getting into the depths of Eastern, starting to use our bow. We saw Dklutie get a nice red rupee pickup. Emma getting a nice blue rupee pickup. And the beginning stages of the game are about to be over after this Armos fight that's coming up. We'll be getting our boots, and that just changes movement in the game so much.
Yeah, the boots definitely completely changed the game for the better. Really, boots movement is really fun.
Wow, Emma recovering nicely there, and Dklutie getting a nice 1042. So you got a sub 450 Eastern. That's pretty strong.
I have no idea what the pendant catch times are anymore. I've completely forgotten. Or at least for segment times, at least.
It's about a 14 or 15 second difference in Eastern, so...
Yeah.
And now we're getting the boost from Toad. Toad is mourning the loss of his friend. It's just a very emotional scene.
Too bad it's all in Japanese, so we can't... The chat can't really
can't
get
confirm,
the emotional impact of it.
We can't confirm that what I'm saying is the absolute honest truth.
Yeah, that too, you know. So they'll be headed to get the book, which you need to access Desert Palace. There's no way around it without using glitches. There are some optional spin dashes they can do through here. It looks like DK is going to go for this one. These, on the library screen, save about half a second each, but if you waste any amount of time, like DK did there, where he accidentally came off the stairs without the super speed, it becomes pretty difficult to actually save time with it. Gonna be going for the second one. I think Emma goes for the second one as well.
Getting that bonk. I hate that bonk. And we've got maybe a 10-second difference by now. Maybe 10 or 12 seconds. Now, once you have your dash is, you know, everybody knows exactly what pixel on every screen to dash on. It's just a matter of hitting the right direction at the right time to break out of your dash, and then hitting A as quickly as you can to re-dash. So on that screen just there, you saw Dklutie dashed above all of the grass. That's always nice because the grass will slow you down. Both players, I think, avoided the water. The water dash also slows you down. So just very minor stuff, not huge time differences in these overworlds, but you know, someone like me, for example, I'm not great at overworlds, and I'm always losing time on little positioning, things like that.
Desert Palace having a lot of dashes. Some players like to refer to it as Dash Palace. I actually have the fastest time in the tourney with a 125 flat. What?
Congratulations, Jersh. We did see a 6 in the race just now, which will certainly be enough for a pretty high seed.
DK almost hopped the ledge there. I'm pretty sure he was a frame or two away. That's a risky spin speed for that reason. Emma will not go for it. You have to be very confident in your movement, very confident in your pause buffer timing to go for that trick. And it saves less than a second as well, so completely valid to not try for it. DK gonna be doing Lambo, one of the hardest bosses in the game.
And not a good start for DK. He got 2.5 hits in there. Now on 3.5. Emma starting with 5.5 in the first cycle. Does get one worm down, but both of these runners are doing a lot of slashing, and that's always a bad sign. And we're just getting some really cruel patterns. And we're going to be seeing about a 15-second difference.
Yeah, that's a really tough boss. It's just really hard. I know certainly casually I never fought them with the bow and arrows. So I didn't even realize the first time I was watching a speedrun how hard it is to do that. But it's pretty hard.
We're going to be seeing the fake flippers.
Oh, yes.
There have been a lot of soft locks in this tournament so far, way more than I would have expected, and Dklutie almost was probably our best runner to soft, would have been our best runner to soft lock yet. Emma getting a much cleaner swim there. Not much faster, of course, but much less stressful. And you can always, if you swim the same way every time, you can always get straight there, no matter where the mini Zora spawns.
Yeah, and for anyone who doesn't know, while you're doing that trick, when you get hit, you are put into a state where you can't really continue. The game tries to put you back on land, but since you jumped into the water from a different screen, you can't really find out where to put you. So the only way out of it is really a save and quit, which normally wouldn't be allowed, but for the purposes of this tournament, it is. We allow it just for that situation.
Dklutie having more spin speed trouble, but Emma having some cabbage trouble. Death Mountain is it's one of the most annoying screens in the game, and you have to do it several times. Certainly, when I tried to play this game on emulator without most of the layers, so a kind of blindfolded, kind of quasi-blindfolded run, Death Mountain was probably the most annoying screen. You had to do it so many times. Now we're coming into Hera. Definitely some increase in difficulty in Hera from Desert. Still not quite the level that you'll see at some of the Dark World But you're going to have a bomb jump inherit. You're going to have another tough boss in Moldorm. You're going to have the Beetle Room. And, of course, Tile Room, very difficult room.
Yeah. The only way you can speed it up is this one little strat DK did with the boomerang dash to get on the other side of those pegs. This means he doesn't have to hit the switch in the following room, which saves, I think it saves less than half a second, so it's really not a big deal. But you'll see where in the next room Emma will have to hit the switch since she elected not to do the boom dash. And now DK is going to be going in the Beetle Room, which is a tough room, especially if he goes for the best strat, which he does. And ideally, you knock that middle Beetle into the pit and hit the switch at the same time, which it's a very precise slash.
Yeah, just a little, just rough for Dklutie there, not quite getting that first Beetle into the hole. Emma doing the room very perfectly.
Yeah, that was a really good Beetle Room. Now we've got Bomb Jump. I believe both players will be going for the same strat DK just did there.
DK, really no, all those slashes, he barely had time to dash at the end. The dash is very important.
Oh, no.
Oh, and that's very rough. Very unfortunate for Emma, going to lose about 45 seconds on that fall. How about a minute difference, I would say, between the two runners. Dklutie now coming against Moldorm, using a lot of spins. I don't know how I feel about that.
Oh, wow.
But it worked out. It's one way to do it. And gonna get about a 22.45 for this higher pendant. And that's pretty good. That's not so bad.
Emma gets the bomb jump on her second try.
Yeah, no problem that time. Just a little more nervous Emma than Dklutie so far. And yeah, gonna be with a great Moldorm fight. This will be about a 23.45 for Emma. So about one difference so far in this light world. 1 minute difference so far in this light world.
Getting rejected. That's one thing that's really annoying. If he's right near the bottom of the arena, sometimes he'll just kick you right back up. But sometimes he'll even kick you into the pit, which is absolutely awful. There's great old highlight featuring T1. I'm sure it'll get posted in chat. Featuring how bad Moldorm can be at the bottom of the arena there.
Dklutie correctly walking into the Master Sword Grove. I believe it was WQ who found that in certain rooms, even though dashing is faster in that room, dashing into a transition will lag the game. That includes, I believe, the Master Sword Grove and the Zora's River transition.
Yeah, I think Blunt actually found the mosaic, like these mosaic effect that the game runs right there in these transitions. Blunt found that some of those lag more if you dash into them. WQ did find that specific movement for Lost Woods, though.
Shoutouts to Blunt. Good runner.
He's also a bunny.
We we didn't mention the bunny music, the very brief bunny music that you get on Death Mountain. One of the worst aspects of this run is how the bunny music only plays for about 5 seconds, whereas in some categories you get to hear it during a whole trick. The other music that I think that you never see in any run is the music that you get when you aggro the citizens of Kakariko Village, which is a really funny plot element. That's what happens when they say, "Hey, you're not Mario. This is the Mushroom Kingdom. This is the Mushroom Kingdom. You're not Mario. You don't live here." And they call the Mushroom Guards.
Yeah, you definitely never hear that in any run. Unfortunately, you have to hear the minigame music in some runs. And just the sound of that is infuriating for most speedrunners of this game. Being familiar at all with 100% and the problems those minigames have.
That's certainly right. I don't think. What about the fortune tell, like the do 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 do?
Oh yeah.
I don't think you ever hear that either.
Yeah, you don't. That's correct.
Tower, underrated in difficulty, in my opinion. Lots of rooms
definitely.
Coming. It's kind of like a Light World Ganon's Tower. You just get room after room where you have to kill enemies or get through dark rooms or jump past pits. Emma doing a great job on Pui Gold guards.
Good chest open there in the prize pack garden room as well. You can like get to where Link is standing over where the chest is going to be and be inside of it to open it. But yeah, this dungeon, particularly everything after the archer with the key, almost feels like a mini gauntlet, almost.
Absolutely, and there's quite a bit of RNG and enemy movement as well, especially in the circle pots room. We saw Dklutie lose a bit of time by throwing the pot at the wrong guard or something like that. Just a lot of things can happen here. But certainly, Emma's making good time through this. Since that bomb jump in Hera has done quite well. And we're going to see the blue balls coming up, and that may even this race back up a bit. RNG on circle pots, and Dklutie getting his first blue ball. Second. Third.
For anyone who doesn't know, every blue ball wastes approximately 6 seconds. If the blue ball leads to an additional lightning cycle, it wastes an additional 6 seconds. I believe that happens at 3, 7, 12, and 15. If my math is correct.
Yeah, 3, 7, 11, and 15.
Oh, 11, yeah.
So we saw Dklutie getting the average of 3 blue balls. Just a little weird looking because it was 3 in the first set and none in the second set. That's about 25 seconds off of the optimal 0. But like I said, it is average, and certainly not a bad result for him. And he'll be staying solidly in the lead for now, as we make our way into the Dark World.
Looks like Emma got at least 1 in that first cycle, I think.
I think she got the very last one in the first cycle was a blue ball.
Okay. I think she just needs this one more hit.
Unfortunate for Emma getting her blue balls at the end there, whereas Dklutie got his at the beginning. But the good news is that we had the same number for each, and so certainly no, you know, it's fair. Even
yeah,
if
no advantage.
Even if it's a little less exciting. It would have been nice to see Emma get 0 there and just get pushed a little bit back towards a closer race. But we will have to see the race tighten up in Dark World, which I know Emma can do.
Yeah, we're still only about a minute apart here. And especially in the Dark World, things can go really wrong. You can easily lose a minute in pretty much every dungeon from here on, except for maybe Swamp.
Yeah, if you wanted to lose time on Swamp, you'd have to die on Argus or something.
Who does that? Emma opening the dungeon, DK heading towards Big Key, and after he grabs the Big Key, he's gonna head towards the hammer jump trick, which speeds up the way to get the hammer by about 45 seconds, I think. It's a pretty big trick. It's also very hard.
Yeah, the hammer jump was, when I started watching this game near the end of 2012, when I first discovered the SRL site, hammer jump had just been found. It was done a bit differently then. We're going to see Dklutie getting both bombs there. That's the quickest way to get another bomb if you feel that you can get to the pixel quick enough here. And just a very quick hammer jump from him. What you're doing there is you need to be on the exact right pixel vertically. So your height needs to be exactly right, both for placing the bomb and for standing, and it's a different pixel for each. And horizontally, you have a bit of a window. And we saw Dklutie do it very, very well.
Yeah, that was very good. It's going to be making his way to the back half of the dungeon. This game actually tends to have sort of a similar design for all of its dungeons, where the first half of it is very open and non-linear and sprawling, but then it really focuses down to like linear challenge rooms that really build the tension as you're getting to the boss.
That's a great insight. This game has a lot of little structural things like that I didn't really notice until I speedran it. One of my favorites. Oh, Emma not getting that bomb jump at all. Another thing that I didn't notice until I speedran it is that the colors in this game is one of my favorite things about this game. The colors in this game, in Ocarina of Time, they became like elements, right? So green was for forest, and blue was for water, and red was for fire. But here, in armor, in enemies, and in swords, and a few other things, I think, in shields, and in rupees, there's green is the lowest level, then blue is the second level, red is the third level, and gold is the fourth level, if there is one. So I don't know. That's something I find interesting. Other people might not. We're coming up on Helmasaur King now. Dklutie holding out his sword to make his movement a little bit slower and safer. He needs 17 hammer hits to this head, and then he'll probably be doing 3 hammer hits into a spin to the face, or maybe... Right.
Oh, nice. You got a little bit of bad luck there with the fireballs. It's very tough to still get hammer hits, or to do damage to Helmasaur at all when he's breathing those fireballs at you. Emma got the 10 drop in Mimics, which is very good.
Love getting that 10 drop.
It actually saves a good bit of time to get it. Saves you having to pick up 2 pots at some point throughout the run. So that saved at least a second getting that.
Looks like we've got about a minute and a half difference here. Which makes sense given that hammer jump fall that Emma had. And she's avoiding, not doing the hammer strat, doing the slightly slower 1 spin plus 6 slashes.
Yeah, it's much easier to slash the boss, just because Link's slashing hitbox is quite large. With the hammers, you really got to get close to Helmasaur to make them work. DK going for this spin dash. I'll only say it's 10 frames, but he did it very well. This movement was very good. Getting through that screen well, too.
Probably got all 10 frames there. You're seeing a lot of good overworld movement from DK. Just little ways to save time. Not slashing that blue guard in that other screen. As well as quick warps. I don't think either of them got this... Or no, Emma got a quick warp there, right?
Yes, she did, actually.
That must be the 4 pixels over from where I try to get it. So a quick warp is basically if you enter a warp or mirror on the right frame rule. Is that what they call it? So basically every 4 pixels there will be a pixel where if you warp there, it'll save about half a second, as compared to the normal warp on the other pixels.
Yeah, it's an odd bug that occurs in the camera scrolling positions at certain positions. The animation is just ended early,
Right, I should have said every 4 pixels. I think it's 2 pixels every 8.
Yeah, it's 2 every 8. Yeah. It has to do with, you know, hexadecimal stuff, counting in that base 16.
I just love it when you talk science to me, Josh.
Yeah.
When you talk science, I want to bake you a cake.
I'm actually not much of a programming nerd at all. I just know what ACM and Pincus tell me.
So we've moved from the first dungeon is monkeys and turtles, and the second dungeon is lizards and horses. So we're going all the way through the animal kingdom. After this, we're going to have bugs and dead things. So, remember that Zelda doesn't know Princess Peach very well. So she actually, here she's rescuing Princess Daisy. There's a little crossover. Dklutie having a lot of trouble on this conveyor.
Yeah, that can be rough sometimes. It doesn't seem like, you know, since I know what's coming up, spoiler warning, it doesn't seem like Daisy wants to be rescued by Zelda.
No, the thing is, wearing green, she thinks he was Luigi.
Okay.
And it's you know, it's played for laughs, but then she turns into this to this monster. This 3-headed woman. But Dklutie, everybody can check off scripted fight from their bingo card. Dklutie just following the script.
Emma walking up in the prison, that's only about 25 or 20 frames slower than dashing up through the locks, but dashing through them is actually quite difficult. You have to stop your dash each time.
Yeah, I walk there too. They're very exact dashes. The one reason, the other reason that dashing can be nice though is that you waste more time when sometimes you have to slash as well.
Yeah, whereas the dashing strat would remove any enemies in your path for, you know, just by its nature that you're dashing with your sword out. Oh, Emma's a little off script here. This can be dangerous. Typically when this gets off script, you're basically back in, you know, first grade, like you're playing the game for the first time again. And it's just complete bullet hell. But she gets through it.
Yeah, not a real problem for Emma. Experienced runners can do that fight perfectly, but have also messed it up, you know, hundreds of times by now. Dklutie is getting his red sword from the frog, That, of course, is a pun, because you got your boots from the toad. Now you're getting your sword from the frog, who's turned into just a normal resident of the Mushroom Kingdom.
You wouldn't say they're Hammer Brothers?
Yeah, okay, those are the Hammer Brothers. That's better. That's better than what I was doing with that. That's very good.
DK did get the fence sash. DK making it through one of the tougher rooms there in Mummy's statue. A lot can go wrong in that room, and it can go wrong really quickly. Next, he'll be bomb jumping to the fire rod. This one works pretty much the same way as the Moon Pearl one. Shouldn't give him too much trouble. Fortunately, this one isn't as punishing to fall down. I can just start right back at the beginning of the room.
Yeah, this is the least important bomb jump in the game. But a decently crispy Skull Woods from Dklutie so far.
Yeah, hasn't really made any significant mistakes so far.
Yeah, I have to think that he could be. I'm not looking at his stream, but he could be on or close to PB pace right here.
Of course, this back half of Skull Woods gets pretty difficult. A couple tough rooms.
It's exactly like you say. The back half is linear after the front half was open.
Yeah, definitely.
Good job killing the mummy against those spikes and knocking himself off against the Helma. Great mummy room from Emma, and now we're going to see a beautiful 3-hit moth. That might be a gold split. Yeah. I'm not looking at his stream, but somebody can tell me if that's a gold split.
That was quite good.
Was really a very crispy dungeon. Obviously nervous about bomb jumps now, slashing twice for no reason there, slashing without deciding she had to adjust her position. I think that was maybe a 525 skull or something like that. Very solid.
Yeah, anything sub 530 is pretty good. Emma doing the Joe strat in the mummy room.
Fast, safe mummy hellway there. Not quite optimal, but getting bunnied, a little unfortunate. Not quite sure what she'll do.
Yeah, some players will take the damage to turn right back into Link there, but she played it a little bit more conservative.
Does get one hit into the into the spike there after 2 with just the sword, and we're going to have a rough moth fight here. Oh, but great work from Emma, too. Beautiful moth fights. Beautiful. Just of everything in the game so far, those 2 moth fights were both players just incredible. I would take either of those moth fights any day.
Yeah, that was really good. DK getting the Quake Medallion, going to be mirroring and going to get flippers. Canceling his dash, too. That was nice. And that's another instance where we're talking about you don't want to dash into these mosaic-type transitions. Or at least some of them you don't want to dash into. Because it can create a lot of lag. Ice is one of the tougher segments in the game. A lot can go wrong with it. Ice Palace Bomb Jump can go wrong. Cold Stare can go really wrong. A lot of the rooms in between, it's easy to lose seconds on.
And I think between the 2 runners, I would say we have about a 2-minute difference right now, because I think you get the flippers around 2 minutes into the ice split.
Yeah, you do. About 1:55-ish, I would imagine.
Yeah, interesting. Dklutie did cancel his dash again there.
Yeah.
Avoids the mini Zora. And Emma almost getting rocked by that spear, but dashes right away from it. I have to say, I'm very impressed with Dklutie. Wow, Emma. Okay, I'm impressed with Emma too. Everybody's impressed.
Emma actually got something rare there. Well, it's not common with good movement to get hit on that screen in the first place, but sometimes when it hits you, it'll also push you out of bounds. So yeah.
Yeah, it's actually easy to go out of bounds, and it's easy to glitch out this game by accident.
DK getting hit in the conveyor room here. Has 3 tries at bomb jump. Should be good. This is the last penguin. It's not too bad to clean that up, though. We'll see if Emma wants to try for another heart on this screen. This rock has a 50% chance. Yeah, she does.
Yep. Emma is keeping her head about her. She's getting into some sticky situations, and she's getting out of them. And if anything happens to Dklutie, a 2-minute gap is about what you would expect from most boss deaths. So I think Emma's doing a great job staying in this. We see Dklutie coming up to Cold Stare now. I would say that for newer players, this is one of the toughest fights in the game. And for experienced players, it's one of the most predictable.
Yeah, but it's still scary, I would say, as an experienced player. He gets it.
Yeah, he gets you know, it's a little weird looking, but at the end there, when they kind of got away but then didn't, but he did get his poke, and then his double spin, and then his last slash.
That was a really important fight for DK there. If he died there, Emma takes the lead. Like, Cold Stare is the worst.
Yeah, and let's point out about ice. There's like basically nothing you do in ice that is saved from a death, right? You don't get a big key, you don't get an item. There aren't like ice is completely linear the way we do it. So ice, if you die, is the same the second time. Wow, another bomb jump. Emma's bomb jumps have just every bomb jump has had one problem or another. Not losing much time there, but just I would say almost all of the time difference here has been from bomb jumps. I mean, at least a minute of the 2-minute differences was from bomb jumps. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for sure. Mostly the heroine.
Yeah, certainly the heroine, about 45 seconds, and about 15 seconds from the hammer bomb jump, I think. And no shame being behind Dklutie in this race. His movement has been really on point. He's just been playing very solid, except perhaps the Landmo fight, neither of them executed very well. But everything besides that has been great. We do see Dklutie taking a little bit of damage at the beginning of Swamp here. Those enemies there can be a little unpredictable, so that's something that happens sometimes. But he did get his quick warp, he saved half a second there, and we see Emma going into Cold Stare here.
He needs to be really careful here. She should have it, yeah. When you get down to 2 hearts or less, it's really scary. Any hit you take in the fight at all, from either the Cold Stare bus or from the ice crystals falling from the ceiling, you will be dead.
Having 2 hearts there is not great. The puffballs, of course, are a fan service for. It's a representation of Kirby. So.
Being able to die to the ice crystals can be pretty scary. You can even die, like, after you've killed the boss. And you're still vulnerable to those ice crystals, and they can kill you. I believe Emma will be doing a different route here. That's what she normally does, at least. She'll be going to get Ether and Ice Rod during this segment. So
yeah.
It'll look like she's further behind than she is for at least a little while.
And this is a route change that became possible when spin speed was discovered in whenever that was, 2014 or whatever. Still feels new to me. In the old route, which is still the fastest, you use the hookshot to gain speed on Death Mountain. That's mainly the fastest now because of another new trick, relatively new, also around 2014, where you climb the stairs with the hookshot. Dklutie is about to get the hookshot here in Swamp Palace. But once spin speed was found, having the hookshot on Death Mountain meant you really don't save that much time getting the Ether Medallion here versus getting it before Mire. And since hearts are at more of a premium in Mire than in Swamp, a nice safe strat is to do exactly what Emma's doing and to get these items now. Still the standard for top players, I believe, is to get them before Mire so that you can do the stair climb and everything. Oh no. Oh, okay. Yes.
That was worrying, but that could have turned into really sour.
Really stressing us out here, losing the hearts and losing the bomb. The bomb was the more important thing. But those crabs there are real killers. Those are maybe the worst enemies in the game. I died to one in a Key Sanity race in the Key Sanity tournament.
Oh, she misses the bird. Okay.
Yeah, just Emma clearly. I don't know. Flustered would be my interpretation. And
yeah, I would be flustered too after that crabs thing.
Yeah, and also barely surviving that cold stare.
Yeah.
Just very stressful. Everything since the Ice Palace bomb jump has been stressful for Emma. Now, Dklutie, on the other hand, he got his hookshot around an hour in. And I have to think that that puts him at, with very solid play from here on out, that would put him at about 126 pace.
Yeah, I think so. He should have a 101 Swamp Crystal, I think. Which is definitely 126 pace, I believe.
Of course, at the end of the game, one of the nice things about this speedrun, which I suppose is true of a lot of games, but not every game, is that it does get harder as you get to the end. So there's much more variability in the last few splits for players of around Dklutie's caliber. So there will be a lot of question marks how he can handle the pressure in Mire, in T-Rock, and in Ganon's Tower and on Ganon. But if he does handle that pressure, we will be looking at a PB from Dklutie. His Argus fight is not brilliant.
He might have avoided the 2-cycle. Yeah, he did.
Barely avoided the 2-cycle. So normally, even if you're not doing the 0-cycle with the glitch state, you can basically kill all the puffs as the first swinging cycle is ending. And he was quite a while later than that.
Yeah, at least he didn't get the 2-cycle, though. That would have wasted a couple seconds on its own. Also nice to get through that fight without dying, you know?
Oh, nobody ever worries about dying on that fight. It's not in a tournament match.
Emma getting a nice drop there to get her back to full health. Beans can be pretty nice for Swamp. You have to keep them for a while for them to actually end up being very useful. But they can be nice in a couple of rooms.
We'll be going on to Mire on Dklutie's side after he picks up the items that Emma has already gotten. And this is when the existential themes of the game really start to come out.
Yeah, Mire's can be a pretty tough segment. Ordinarily, I feel like most players would say, oh, it's whatever. There's no, like, particularly hard rooms or crazy tricks or anything, but you're required to take a lot of damage in Mire to do the optimal strategies, and that makes it pretty nerve-wracking.
Yeah, you have to take a lot of damage, and enemies hit you for a lot of damage. There's slugs that do 4 hearts of damage, and there's magic Koopas that do 4 hearts of damage.
The Magic Koopas? Yeah.
Magic Koopas, yeah. Diddy going for another spin speed there, not quite getting it. I would say the spin speeds throughout the run for Dklutie, he's executed some very impressive ones. The one in Desert 2, and the one after the flute, and also has lost time on others. So probably not overall saving that much time with his choice to go for basically every optimal spin speed in this run.
He'll be entering Mire. This second room is very important. You want to get through the whole thing before the Wizrobes, or Magikoopas, sorry, have had a chance to disappear. We'll see if he does it.
Yep. Very good job. He went for the slightly slower start there, but safer, where he kills all of the Magikoopas first and then goes for the Popos afterwards. Dklutie barely getting to that last torch in time. 106.42 torches.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. With a good in game, he could get a 126. The Fire Rod kill on Argus saves, I think, a little less than 1 second.
Notice the eyes on the wall there as oh, nice bird toss. As Dklutie dashed up to get the Cane of Samaria. There's so many eyes in this dungeon, and the theme of the eyes is saying, you know, okay, your roommate died, your roommate Mario died, and you don't have Princess Peach. She was stolen by Bowser, or Ganon or whoever. But even despite that, there's still the I, there's still the self, right? And in a sense, you know, when we watch ourselves, we are other than ourselves. You know, there is a me who is here doing the commentary and is watching the game, and there's also a me that is kind of from inside watching and thinking, what a strange person this is. I feel so foreign from him. And that's really what the Mire dungeon is about kind of, you know, the way these pieces of ourselves fall from the ceiling of our soul and break off and turn into little slime. And now we're seeing us fighting the inner eye in this Vitreous boss.
Once again, that was an overwhelmingly beautiful explanation of the lore of this game.
Uh, 109 Crystal Catch on Mire. I'm thinking it's around 109.40. So I think it'll be tight. Dklutie is going to have to show us his best stuff if he wants if he wants to give us a 126 or a PB here. But I think we'll all be hoping that he can close out this run. It really has been an impressive run from him. And Emma's still not that far behind. She's picking up that Canis Samaria now.
Yeah, she's really not too far behind here. She had a 1 and 09 30 something torches, I believe.
Yeah, so still less than 3-minute difference. So she could be looking at, with a really good endgame from her, she could be looking at possibly another 130, for example.
Also, I'm certainly aware of who I'm commentating with. I've known Runner Watcher for coming up on 5 years.
Yeah, Josh used to watch me in the fall of 2013. I think is when you started watching me, when I was a very new runner.
Yeah.
And pretty quickly became better than me, I would say. You know, by mid 2014.
There were times where you were better than me, though. For sure. I think after I got sub 130, I stopped for a while and started playing Super Metroid more. And you passed me at that point.
Yeah, that's true. Of course, you ended up with a very good time in Super Metroid as well, so not wasted time.
Yeah, Super Metroid is fun. Am I having a 0 lightning viddy?
Yeah, very beautiful viddy, despite missing that arrow shot. Super Metroid, that's another game whose themes I could talk about a lot. Just the fact that, you know, it's just all about the dangers of female sexuality and the violence of motherhood. But we don't need to get into that.
I can't wait to see you commentate a Super Metroid race.
Nice, quick rollers. Is that what we call that? Fast rollers?
Yeah, quick rollers, risky rollers, maybe.
Rollers, I like that. Really, the whole theme of Turtle Rock is how, you know, you put your entire being at risk in this adventure. You know, you're healer over the abyss, and the abyss is staring back at you.
Emma smartly slashing that squirrel upwards. A lot of lesser experienced players don't really consider their positioning when slashing that squirrel, and they might hit him to the right, which is very bad.
Yeah, Emma's is playing very intelligently in that Waffle House. A lot of runners will, when they get bad squirrel RNG, will just, you know, basically mess themselves up and not make the most of a bad situation, and then, you know, call it RNG. But in this game, bad RNG always has a better and a worse way to deal with it. More bad squirrel RNG for her, but again, dealing with it in the best way. Very intelligent play on this Death Mountain from Emma. So we're coming up on the that linear end section of Turtle Rock now. We're gonna have this room where Dklutie is getting this key, and he'll use his beams. It's great to have beams in Turtle Rock. It's really important.
Yeah, it really is.
And then he's gonna lose a heart in the next room. Then he's gonna have his laser skip, and then he'll have the maze room, and then he'll have the Trinex.
Yeah, and that damage there is intentional. It's just faster to take it than it is to avoid it. I always hated that room as a kid. But of course, in a speedrun, you have the path completely memorized. Doing a safe laser skip there, where he knocks the beetle off first. Ooh, gets hit there at the end, but
he can tank the hit.
Yeah,
He has done a great job keeping his health here. Emma had a good roller room as well. Little rough there. Trying that cane dash.
nice chomps from Emma. DK fighting Trinex, going behind him, which is optimal. If he does it well, which it looks like he should, you'll see Trinex start to explode right after he cycles, right there. Oh, he did move a little bit. Never mind.
Never mind, terrible fight.
Never mind. It wasn't terrible, but it was just a little bit slow overall.
We do see Dklutie walking up there to avoid getting hit. Is that faster, Josh, or is it faster to just spam, face right and spam the sword for that last hit?
I'm not 100% sure. You can slash like too quickly at him, like before his iframes from being spin attacked.
I know you need to time it right. That you can miss the first slash and then he can hit you, and you won't have time for a second slash, and that can waste a lot of time.
Yeah.
Dklutie is just he killed this three-headed monster. Yet another three-headed monster after Blind. So Princess Daisy turned into Blind, and it actually turns out that inside this three-headed monster was Princess Peach, and she said, Zelda. the thing about the princesses of the Mario Kingdom is we all turn into three-headed monsters. And if you want to marry me, some days there will be cake, but other days you will have to grapple with the three-headed monster that is woman. And Zelda says, let me go to this other place first and I'll think about it. But even if that doesn't work out, we can still be friends. So we saw Dklutie skipping that first key. He's going to get a key right near the end of the dungeon, probably from the final circle of pots, I would think.
Emma will fight Trinex from the front, which is quite a bit safer. It's less precise movements involved, but it's not much slower either. I don't think it was any slower than what DK did there, actually.
Yeah, ended up not being any slower because she didn't get that second head movement, and Dklutie did get the first head movement.
The strat from the front also has the risk of sometimes getting ice on the floor, which really sucks when it happens. She didn't have it happen there, though, which is really good. Oh no, DK having a little mess up.
DK barely has enough arrows left for this, but he does get through. Definitely losing some time here, but does get through.
One small thing to note is that since he messed up that fight, he might get slightly different fire bat patterns on Ganon. Which,
yeah, he's gonna have to keep an eye out on Ganon. Just gonna have to keep his heads up.
That can definitely impact a couple of the RNGs for Phase 2, especially since players these days commonly learn how to fight those from inside the fire bat ring and might not really know how to fight it outside the fire bat ring.
Yeah, I think if he's doing dash strats, and I know that Dklutie has done no EG at one point or another, if he's doing dash strats on Ganon, that will make a big difference. If he's doing the kind of more standard hook strats, and getting a lot of damage from getting knocked out of dashes so far. He's down to 5 hearts going into the gauntlet, and I have to say right now that I'm worried. I'm worried about Dklutie's PB chances. It just looks like finally. Oh no! And he's getting this fairy. And I think what he's telling us there is, I am not worried about PBing. I just want to get the best possible time for my seeding in this tournament. I think he probably decided he couldn't get a 126, and getting a second low 127 did not matter to him that much. So respect to that decision. It's hard to make decisions like that in real time. We'll see how he feels about it after the run.
Yeah. Unfortunately, one of the things about getting those fairies is it gives you sword beams, so it's kind of a blessing and a curse to go get them.
Yeah, the weird thing about sword beams is that in the speedrun, you almost never want sword beams for fighting enemies, only in a few very specific places. But actually, sword beams for other things, especially for hitting switches, can be very useful. And so there are very specific places where you want sword beams. In the gauntlet is not one of them for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Emma smartly hooking an extra arrow there. She would have been on the minimum arrow count for Ice Harmos, and now she has 5 extras, so this fight will be much less stressful. Oh, DK missing the kill here. He's not gonna have...
Not gonna have a lot of magic here. I don't know if he has enough for 3 lanterns. No, and he's doing the no EG strat here.
Yeah, it's good that he's run no EG and knows the strategy. A lot of players wouldn't necessarily know it. So, really good that he knows the backup there.
Solid mimic from Emma. I would say 126 is long gone. We're looking at maybe... Oh, no. Missing that bomb. Getting the 3 bombs.
This bomb throw is, like, actually quite particular about how you throw it. He misses it again.
Definitely some nerves just right at the end here from Dklutie. Could still be looking at a 127 with good execution on Ganon. And that will give him, I would think, a very good seed. I don't expect myself to get a 127. But we'll see.
I'm missing the fire red shot on this guy.
That's a cool strat. I like going for that, but I don't know. I still use the arrows through a lot of Gauntlet. I like having full magic from Landmo. And we're seeing the Geometry Wizard coming up for Dklutie. The rest of this Ganon's Tower has been very sketchy from him, so we'll see how he deals with the most RNG-filled part of getting just 1, going for 3. He could have gotten 2 easily, but he went for 3 and got only 1. So he's got a 1 and a 1, and a 3.
That's
so
3 there. That was nice.
Very solid. In the end, a 4, not bad. Not bad, a 4 cycle. And could still be a very high 127 with a really good Ganon fight, or it could be a 128. Ganon, of course, there's also 3 of.
Oh no.
It's really about it's the ego, the id, and the super ego is what this game is about. And you'll even see Ganon say, "You fought my alter ego," but what he means is that you fought all 3 parts of Ganon as the Geometry Wizard. And he is going for these dash strats, which, with the change in the RNG, yeah, I don't think he's going to get the 1+1. He got knocked out of his spin. No, he got it.
Oh, he still got it. Wow,
He
nice.
still got it. I must have miscounted there.
Oh, Emma missing this bomb too, but gets the second throw, I believe, yeah.
I honestly don't mind having a second bomb there, just because I mean, I'm an idiot and I mess up that sort of thing a lot.
Yeah, I've definitely missed it before with and run out of bombs, and it's never a good feeling, since you have to backtrack. Loses several seconds to have that mistake happen.
And let's just note, Emma's coming up on Aga 2. You know, a Ganon fall from Dklutie, and this would be incredibly close. I don't expect that to happen, but it does show how Emma has kept pace despite some of the less fortunate aspects of her run. And we see Dklutie finishing. He's going to have around a 128.09, I think. And we'll get his thoughts on what really was a very solid run.
Yeah, we'll definitely try to get him in here. A little post-race interview. And we have Emma not far behind. Gonna be coming up on Ganon.
Okay, congratulations on your win, and on a very solid run.
Oh my gosh. I think I've learned one thing from this race, and it's never listen to runner, watch, or commentator race while you're participating in it, because you're that the entire time and not focus.
Distract you a little bit, perhaps?
Nah, it's good. Oh man, dude, that was a sick one until Ganon's Tower, but that's okay.
Yeah, it looks like it was really in. I guess it started with Ice Armos, and then it was kind of just like every so often in Ganon's Tower, these things.
Yeah, I think what happened is I just lost my focus. As soon as I like kind of screwed up Ice Armos, I started kind of panicking because I was already low on health, and just kind of didn't really, kind of lost focus, and I didn't really trust myself. So I took the easy way out and got the fairies, and then obviously nobody likes to practice with the safe strats. So
yeah.
But
yeah.
overall, I thought, you know, besides, you know, kind of in the last, you know, Ganon's Tower and Ganon, I think things were good, you know? I think...
Yeah, you showed a lot of very, very solid play. There weren't many... I don't remember there was a single time that we were, like, worried about you. I don't know, maybe Josh Was there a time that you were worried about losing the run to anything, where you were worried about dying? I can't think of a single time that you were like low health.
Yeah, I couldn't think of really any time. I'm just having a rough time on Ganon here. The problem with dying even once to Ganon is that when you go back through the fireball patterns that you're used to, that you practice, that you prepare for, that you would ordinarily get in a run, at least with a good Ice Armos, they're going to be different.
So the the trident pretty straightforwardly represents the three-part nature of humanity. So Ganon is kind of wielding the fact of our inner split from ourself into these three parts. It's kind of wielding your own awareness. It's like hitting you with an epiphany over and over again, hitting you with knowledge.
The knowledge of natural gameplay.
Yes, the knowledge of alpha natural gameplay is what Ganon wields.
Yo, that Mothko was sick.
You need to retime.
Yeah,
what is your skill gold? Because that looked like it was probably a gold.
I don't know. I just used I didn't have my splits up. I just had the timer going.
Because that looked like it was maybe a 524, maybe even 523.
Let me see let me pull it up.
Well, that was a really solid Skull Woods. I don't think I saw any major mistake.
Yeah, my gold is a 529, so...
Yeah, that was definitely a gold. You should definitely retime that, I would say.
Yeah,
and that was when I felt you were really... I thought Pod was very solid, I thought Thieves was very solid, and Skull and Ice were very solid. And that's a part of the game where it's really easy to... For me, I have a lot of trouble keeping focus in the middle of the game there, and I thought you just did an excellent job. You were just destroying all of those segments.
Yeah,
so
a lot of this game,
a lot of people really good play here.
Yeah, I think a lot of getting solid times in this game is really finding a good flow, if that makes sense. Really just keeping your focus and then really getting into a rhythm of just I don't know about you guys, but I've played this game long enough to where if I can keep my focus, my muscle memory will take care of itself basically. So I just have to get into a spot where I feel like I'm really just focusing on the game and then just allowing myself to play the way that I know how to,
You need to get into this weird middle state where you're not thinking too hard and messing up your muscle memory.
Yeah.
But you're also not distracted thinking about something else. So you need to get into it's like this Zen state.
I just needed Peach's cake. That's all I needed.
Yeah, all you need is the cake. That's exactly right. Emma, what do you think?
About what?
How did you run? How did you feel about obviously some Ganon problems at the end and some bomb jump problems throughout? But we thought you showed a lot of resourcefulness throughout the run. How do you feel about how the run went and your group stage in general?
I hate literally everything about that run.
No.
Even though I was on pace to have probably my best race time in the tournament, if I had not died to Ganon a million times, I still felt the worst about that run than any other run that I've had.
Well, it was weird because we thought your play was very good, but the mistakes were so... It wasn't like you were losing a lot of little time on movement stuff. You were losing the bomb jump losses were huge time. So I think it looked a lot worse than it was and kind of maybe obscured some of the very solid play that you were having.
I mean, had I not fell to the bomb jump, the Hera bomb jump in the beginning, I probably would have only been, and minus all the Ganon deaths too, probably would have only been plus 20 seconds on my PB. So,
yeah,
that's fine. But No, I was playing like so sloppy, and I felt so bad about it. And like I haven't played in like the entire week, so I was pretty like rusty, I guess. I practiced a bit this morning, and that was it. The hammer jump was pretty awful. That happened to me once in practice, and I was like, oh, hopefully that doesn't happen during my race. And sure enough, you know, dropping 2 bombs to the bottom happened. So,
I mean, you probably also had. Were you watching the stream? Did you know that DK was on PB pace, that he was playing as well as he was? Because that must change the way. I know that for the tournament race I had, my opponent was. I was playing very poorly for most of it, and my opponent was on PB pace, and that was completely changing my way of thinking about it. I wasn't trying to play safe anymore. I was just really stressed out about how well my opponent was playing. So I don't know, did that enter into your thinking about the run at all, or?
No, I knew I wasn't gonna win this race or anything. Like, I knew that wasn't gonna happen. Well, especially like after that fall in Hera, I was like, hey, there's no way now that unless like you died to cold stare or something.
Yeah.
So no, like I just kind of played how I usually play, I think. Just
Well,
tried
that's
to
good.
like do my best, I guess.
So you guys you guys have both done all 3 of your races, is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think you guys are probably the first people to finish all 3, maybe, or some of the
Maybe.
first. So you guys will both be seated in Dklutie. I think this is your best race time yet in the tournament.
If I remember correctly, yes.
So
I think I had a 128, a 128.29, and then I had just below a 130, and so then the 128.09. So
that's very good consistency, and I think a 128.09 will definitely put you in a very solid place in the brackets. And Emma, I think I saw you get like a low 130 the other day.
Yeah, 130.37 I think is my best race time.
And I think that'll be. I'm not actually sure how the seating will end up. That might put you in the top half or just outside of it. How do you guys feel about the bracket stages? What are you guys looking forward to or nervous about? Or?
Well, Emma's looking forward to facing me, apparently.
Yeah. So that I can win, obviously, and Josh is gonna let me win. I mean, I'm gonna beat him, obviously.
Wow.
I guess we'll see. It seems unlikely to me because Josh, you might not know this, but right now Josh is the #1 seed.
Yeah, I do know that. But I'm still gonna win.
Whoa.
Josh is the Zelda. He has taken Peach's cake.
He's the Zelda, he's the cake, he's the
cake
Ganon,
master.
he's the Kirby, he's all of it. Josh is video games.
Yeah, I think for me, for bracket play, it'll be interesting to see where we end up. I was actually unaware that it only, seeding was best possible time and not the best. I guess I thought it was if you're 3-0, you get into the top half, and then based on seeding as the 3-0s, you would get to be a seed. I had no idea that this actual match had really no indication of where we would end up.
Yeah, actually, I didn't know that
actual race game.
I was glad to have Josh explain that to me.
Yeah, so going in, I was like, okay, this is like a must-win if I want to be placed higher, Obviously, this was my best race anyway, so it doesn't really matter as that part, but I think what I'm most looking forward to about bracket play is that it's single elimination, and if I have a bad run, then I can quit playing Link to the Past. I'm just joking.
Wow.
No, I think it'll be really fun and really interesting to see how single elimination plays out in bracket play. So definitely the stakes are going to be a lot higher, and nerves will be, a big factor at this point. It's really about who can keep their head on straight and really just perform best of their abilities.
Yeah, in this game, I mean, you can die in any dungeon, and you can get a lot of Ganon warps, you can get a lot of blue balls, and so single elimination really, I mean, like you said, everybody, even for, if you're a 128 playing a 130, you're still gonna have to really watch out and make sure you're at the top of your game every game.
Yeah.
That's going to be exciting, but I think people like me may be out sooner than others would expect, but we'll see. We'll certainly see how it goes. Congratulations to both of you. You advanced to the bracket stages, and I don't know exactly what we have coming up next on this channel. Maybe Josh knows.
Just looking at the schedule now.
I think that Scrivo said that there was another race happening at 5.
Oh yeah, we probably
Yeah,
have the 5 p.m.
There is a 5 p.m. happening.
And a 7 p.m.
Yeah, the 5 p.m. will be between Philion and JC. That is coming right up next. Here on Speed Gaming 3. And then
I don't think we had the 7 p.m. because I think those runners actually did their race as part of the one before this. If I remember correctly, I remember seeing those names at 3 p.m.
yeah,
Oh yeah, they did. Sorry.
yeah.
You should.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Well, I'm helping off, guys. Thanks again for the race, Emma, and
Yeah.
thanks for the commentary, guys.
Sure, thank
Yeah,
you,
GG.
Dklutie. Really good race. Sorry that Ganon's Tower didn't treat you so well, but everybody was very impressed. And same to you, Emma. And we look forward to seeing you guys in the bracket stages.
All right. Well, thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Stay tuned for more, everyone.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another Legend of Zelda Link to the Past NMG Tournament race. This afternoon, we've got another good race for you here. We've got a matchup of 2 players from Group R. We've got Philion taking on JC87 in this afternoon's race. This will be Philion's second race. I believe it's JC's third race. Philion's 0-1 to this point. JC is 1-1. So this is an important match for both of them. Winner will put themselves in better position to get to the bracket. The loser might be out, but it'll depend on how everything else plays out. So both these runners definitely want to get a win today. We are just finishing up our preparations for the race right now. As you can see on the restream, Philion's just doing some practice for the hammer jump, which we'll be seeing later on in the race. It's going to be a lot to look forward to in this race. I know Phileon's been improving. JC is one of the better runners at this. It is going to be a very exciting matchup to watch here. And rounding out this group is Scrivo, who is already 2-0, and Nikki Noel, who is 0-1. We should be getting going in a couple minutes here. Like I said, as we're watching, Phileon's just practicing the hammer jump. It's a double pixel perfect jump. Phileon is actually using a pause buffer to help him get positioned. He's likely looking for specific pixels when he's pause buffering to get himself lined up properly. It's one way you can do it. There's several ways you can set up the hammer jump. Some choose to use the sword buffer, some choose to use the menus. There's plenty of ways to do it as long as you get the pixel perfect lined up just right. It is only pixel perfect on the y-axis. I believe with the x-axis, it does not matter as much where you're standing or where the bomb is placed. Looks like both runners have readied up. We're just seeing them finishing up their preparations on screen right now, and we will be getting started very shortly. So to start the race, as they get going here in just a minute, the opening sequence is going to be the 6-minute escape sequence. I say 6 minutes, that's generally the ideal time you want to finish it in. That's what most runners about aim for to get through it. The opening sequence, it's pretty scripted. There's not a lot of variance here. There's maybe a little RNG in the guards, but beyond that, it's a pretty straightforward route. And we are underway here as both runners start up in their house.